This is the Polestar 6, a stunning and stunningly fast sports car with a difference. It has two electric motors attached rather than something combustible. This is the Tesla Roadster 2nd generation, similarly a ridiculously quick electric sports car. In terms of out and out performance, both of these cars are massively troubling for supercars. The Polestar is planned to have just under 900 brake horsepower, and that Tesla is supposedly one of the quickest cars ever, with a claimed 0 to 60 of 1.9 seconds and a top speed of over 250 miles per hour. Those are some incredible figures, 100%, there is no disputing that, whether you miss the sound of a screaming engine or not. But what's interesting about both of these cars is that they weigh quite a lot. The Tesla is estimated to weigh around 2,000 kilograms, which is a huge amount of weight to get to 60 in that kind of speed, and the Polestar hasn't even had any kind of published weight as of yet that I could find, but given 0 to 60 is quoted at 3.1 seconds, I'd assume it's pretty hefty with almost 900 horsepower to pull it along. They're also both very expensive cars. The Polestar is around $200,000 and the Roadster will be in a similar region. I really feel like I'm describing something supercar-esque when I talk about these two cars, and when you look at how many electric supercars and hypercars have appeared from luxury brands, it's easy to understand why. What we haven't seen from manufacturers as of yet, and I'm scared we may never see from them, is one of my favourite car classes, Roadsters or small sports cars. The small, plucky, underpowered and keyword lightweight cars that are built to handle incredibly well and put a massive smile on owners' faces. Could the move to electric cars end the Roadster and small sports style class that we know and love? Let's take a look in this video, but before we do that, if you enjoy these kinds of videos, do hit the like button. Let's try to hit 600 likes on this video as I have plenty more to come, and subscribe as well if you're new here for 2 videos every single week. Without further ado, let's get into the video. Let's not faff around here. The key reason why I think if we go to electric cars we might lose the well-loved Roadsters in the way that we know them today is weight. As I said, the Polestar and Tesla Roadsters are both very likely to be very heavy cars, with weight similar to that of a Range Rover Sport, not a Mazda MX-5. There is a very important reason for this: batteries are very heavy. If we look at the best example of an electric Roadster, the original Tesla Roadster, the batteries were market leading at the time in how light they were, coming in at 450 kilograms, which by the way is now around the average weight for batteries in an electric car. The whole car, including an entirely carbon fiber body shell to save even more weight, weighs in at 1,305 kilograms. When you compare that to the car that provided the rolling shell for the Tesla, the Lotus Elise, which doesn't have a carbon fiber body shell, the difference is pretty staggering, as the Elise is just 860 kilograms, 445 kilograms lighter than the Tesla. So if you remove the batteries from the Tesla, you'd weigh 5 kilograms less than the entire working Elise. This is why, even though the Tesla Roadster got some really good reviews, one theme I kept finding was people saying it felt a bit cumbersome, a bit too heavy. Road and Track said, for example, that even though it was a delight to drive, it felt like an over-ballasted Elise. This is despite the fact that Tesla struggled really hard with their Lotus gliders that they bought and only ended up sharing 6% of the car's parts with them as a result, simply because they couldn't make the powertrain work. Today's Mazda MX-5 weighs a hair over 1,000 kilograms, the Alpine A110 weighs a similar amount, same with the Abarth 124 Spider, the Alpha 4C weighed just 900 kilograms on release, similar to the Lotus Elise. At a stretch, the heaviest small sports cars weighing at around 1,400 kilograms, like the Porsche 718 Cayman and Boxster, the Audi TT RS, and the BMW Z4, and none of those cars have entirely carbon fiber body panels like the Tesla and cost significantly less in most cases. The closest I can find is the Porsche Cayman GT4e Performance, which weighs 1,500 kilograms, but it's literally a concept race car, not a road car. By the way, I saw that Cayman at Goodwood last year and it was absolutely unreal. It was so fast. If the weight of batteries can't come down, which I'm certainly not saying they can't, we may lose for at least a time the heart of what makes these small sports cars so fun: how lightweight they are. And it's all good and well saying you can up the power to match the additional weight, but if you've ever driven a heavier sports car, you'll know it's still a very very different experience to a lightweight car, like for example the 992 Turbo S, which is around 1,733 kilograms but puts out around 641 brake horsepower. I drove it, I loved it, it's unreal in terms of performance, but it doesn't feel like a roadster or a small sports car, it feels like a burly supercar if anything. Which brings me on to the next point, which is much shorter. The Polestar and Tesla I mentioned in the intro are both very powerful cars, supercar levels of power as I said. Let's go back to that list of cars I just mentioned. The MX-5 has 181 brake horsepower, the Alpine has about 250, the Abarth has 170, the 4C has 240-ish, you get the idea. None of them are ridiculously powerful beasts, they don't rely on power to make them fast or fun, they rely on how dynamic they are. That's the opposite formula of electric sports cars all the way up to hypercars. Think about the Rimac Nevera, almost 2,000 brake horsepower, and the same story can be said for the majority of performance electric cars. Even that 1,500 kilogram GT4e performance will put out 1,000 brake horsepower compared to 414 out of the standard petrol GT4. I'm absolutely not saying that huge amounts of power is a bad thing, but I am saying it's a very different thing to what has typically been the hallmark of small, fun and more affordable sports cars. And if this trend continues, I can't imagine why a manufacturer would try to buck that trend given the difficulty of weight. The TT is going as discussed in a previous video, which you should go check out. The Toyota MR2 went years ago, the Z4 will likely be discontinued in 2025 with no immediate successor, and the same goes for the Supra. The Alpine will go in 2024 to 2025 as well, with an EV successor coming, but no news yet on what that really means. These cars are disappearing for multiple reasons outside of electric cars, but there's no doubting that EVs are a factor. In terms of those other factors, it includes stuff like young people having less disposable money to spend, people having different priorities for cars, as in usually wanting bigger cars, and how expensive cars are compared to salaries nowadays. But with a dying class of cars, why would anyone really try to keep them going en masse? Well, there is one brand, Mazda. The MX-5 is of course the gold standard for how a more affordable, underpowered, incredibly handling sports car should be. They have promised to keep the MX-5 going and plan to have some form of electrification, either hybrid or fully EV on their MX-5 models by 2030, while across their lineup of cars, 25% will be fully electric and 75% will be hybrids. Maybe we'll see an EV MX-5 option alongside a hybrid example, we'll have to see. But for now at least, Mazda has promised to work hard to, in their words, make it a lightweight, affordable, open two-seater sports car in order to meet the needs of customers. But will it meet all of those needs? Even if it's lightweight enough, will an electric motor offer people the same enjoyment they get from modifying a combustion engine on MX-5s? Will it be as dynamic if they have to sacrifice on weight, or will it be more expensive with lighter materials used to counter the weight problem? Will it be too powerful? Only time will tell whether it will manage to tick all these boxes, but it might be the final chapter in the types of cheaper small sports cars we know and love today. So what are your thoughts? I'd love to hear them in the comments down below, and let me know if you're sad or excited about the future of this class. Massive thanks to the patrons as ever, and to you guys as well for watching. But now that you've watched this video, you need to go and see the story of the Audi TT and why that small sports car is disappearing by clicking here.